Hi, I'm Rich Miller. At Virtua, we believe citizens need to be informed about the important healthcare issues affecting their lives. That's why we're proud to support healthcare programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Virtua, Wells Fargo, Caldwell University, the New Jersey Education Association, Suez, ready for the resource revolution, Johnson & Johnson, and by Kessler Foundation, changing the lives of people with disabilities. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, small news, big news, true Jersey, and by NJ Biz, all business, all New Jersey.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this.
You
got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No. People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
Hi, welcome to a One-on-One from the Tisch WNET studio here in the Lincoln Center. We're honored to have Deborah Roberts, the co-author of a terrific book called Been There, Done That. Who'd you write it with?
A guy at another network.
The great Al Roker from NBC's Today Show. Hey, how's his career going?
Well, you know, he's kind of busy today, so unfortunately he couldn't be here.
He's find work.
Traveling. Yeah,
He's got to find some work.
Somebody's got to support the family.
Yeah, right. You guys are terrific. And I was just telling you
you
right before we got on the show that I was watching a great piece you did over at ABC on 2020. Yeah. We'll talk about that later. Can we talk about this book? Been There, Done That is all about?
It's about marriage, it's about relationships, it's about career, it's about family, it's about life. It's about the sort of messiness and unpredictability of life and kind of trying to roll with the punches and come out and feel optimistic.
Deborah, this was your idea, the book.
It was my idea.
Did Al say yeah right away?
No way. Al said, are you kidding me?
How'd this go down?
Well, you know what happened was I had always wanted to, I mean, Al's written a number of books.
Sure.
You probably know cookbooks and a memoir and all of this.
Got the hurricane, the
Storm
book.
of the Century. May as well give him a little plug.
Absolutely. I shouldn't say the hurricane. It's a storm of the century.
Yeah, Storm of the Century. And so I had kind of always wanted to talk about career, talk about women. I wanted to write a book. And it kind of occurred to me that we've had a pretty interesting life, the two of us, you know, dueling network family, both of us sort of like, you know, coming up in this industry. He's a kid from Queens, I'm a kid from the segregated South. I thought we had some interesting experiences to share. So more than just a career book, I thought, let's talk about our lives. And a lot of the things that have happened to us have been kind of funny. Some of them have been kind of odd and strange, but I thought it could just be fun to put it out there and talk about it.
By the way, real quick, before we go back to the book, it just hit me that Al was on one of our great programs here at Public Broadcasting, Metro Focus, talking about the Storm of the Century. Go on Metro Focus's website. You'll see that interview. It was a great interview.
Oh, good.
And to put in perspective all those storms.
All of those storms. Good. Now we don't have to talk about him anymore. We just talk about us.
I want to get that out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about the storms. Watch this transition, this segue. How stormy can a relationship be, even a really good one like yours?
Well, you know, it's interesting. One of our chapters is called Weathering the Storm.
No,
yes,
it is.
Weathering. I thought you were setting it up for me. That was pretty good.
My question is this about the storm. My wife and I talk about this a lot. Is it healthy to argue and really put it out there, or should you be biting your tongue more and letting things go? Because you know what? Don't sweat the small stuff, as the late, great Richard Carlson once said.
Right. It's interesting you would say that because Al and I have different philosophies. I'm like, put it out there. And Al's like, nah. He doesn't really like to fight in front of the kids. It's not like we're throwing chairs at each other or plates or anything like that, but sometimes we have disagreements, of course. And he likes to keep it sort of low-key. Don't say. I said, Al, they need to see that we can fight, but yet at the end of the day, we love each other, we care about each other. You know, we're not going to go storming out of the house. Pardon the metaphor
But
again.
what about the parameters of the fight? Seriously, because that always strikes me as one of the keys.
Yeah.
What are the parameters?
Well, you can't be mean. You can't be, you know, dismissive. You can't be cruel to the other person. I think it's really more about just, you know, let's just air our disagreement. This is how I feel. This is why I feel that way. This is ridiculous. That's why I think it's ridiculous. It's sort of keeping it within sort of like the I think the lines of just being respectful but disagreeing.
How much of it is trying to step back? I mean, both of you have such extraordinary careers in this incredibly competitive is a ridiculous word because it's so much more than competitive.
Yeah, demanding.
Demanding, and also the rejection. I mean, no one really knows what anyone deals with, but since you've had such successful careers, we wouldn't know about the rejections. We wouldn't know about the disappointments. But let's just assume this. Let's assume they're there. Right?
Right.
How have you dealt with those pieces of it since both of you are in it?
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about in the book. Not just like celebrating like all the happy victories and all of that. Aren't we great? No, we're not so much. Our book is really more about like all the stumbles and the disappointments. There's a chapter in there where I talk about a big decision I had to make at ABC News about my career. And I had just had my daughter. I had a couple of miscarriages. I finally, through IVF, we got pregnant. I was so excited. And then I had a great opportunity for an anchor gig offered. And I said no, because at that moment I was feeling such excitement over having this child, and I was nervous about trying to figure it out. And I sort of regretted that. And I talked about
Hold on, you regretted the decision?
Well, I regretted, just making a decision that was going to affect my career for a little while. I never regretted wanting to be home with my daughter. And the story really was about making peace with a decision, because we make decisions in our careers all the time. But that was very disappointing to me because I didn't get some big assignments for a while after that. And I felt like I had to sort of fight my way back so that I didn't have this perception of being on the mommy track. And some friends said to me, wow, that was pretty bold. I can't believe you put that out there. You know what? The whole point of talking in the book is to share some of these stories with other women.
So the private, Deborah, and public, where do you see the line?
Well, there definitely is a line. I mean, we have 2 children. We have a private life. I mean, believe it or not, when we go home, we like to just kind of take it easy and just be home with the kids. We have a house upstate New York where we kind of run to sometimes on the weekends just to sort of get away from it all.
You don't put the address out.
No way. I won't even tell you where it is, upstate New York. There's a big upstate New York.
It's a big upstate. Go try to find it.
Go try to find it. But we try to keep the private part there because both of us are so public, and Al in particular, morning television. It's important to be able to find that line. I think it's healthy.
Why are the two of you such an quote-unquote, as you say, unlikely couple?
Because we're just absolute opposites. I'm more social and gregarious. Al, believe it or not, when he's off camera, he's in the corner someplace. If we're at a party, he's in the corner.
No,
He's the guy in the corner at the party, not talking to anybody. Trust me. He's a little more withdrawn that way. I'm a little bit more of I think a person who likes to live life in a kind of a big fun way, and Al's a little bit more retiring. We're very, very different people.
But when you first met him,
yeah.
And he first expressed, I don't know who expressed interest. Did he?
Of course.
Did you say, that's it, let's do it?
I said, get out of here. You're a nice guy. Leave me alone.
You did do that. You did.
Of course I did that. And if he were here, he would say, I wore her down over time. I liked him. He was a nice guy, but I didn't think of him in any romantic way. He was a friend. We kind of hit it off at work, talking about work and stories and things like that, but that was it. And then over a course of a year or 2 or so, I had relationships that I had dated people, things didn't work out. I kept looking for who I thought was that perfect person, wasn't working out, whatever, long distance romances. And then finally, this guy is in front of my face, just such a nice, wonderful, warm, kind, caring guy. And one day I just kind of went, you're staring at a really good guy here. What was it?
Common ground.
Oh gosh, common ground. Well, he's from a large family with really strong family values. I'm from a large family too, from the South, very strong family values. So that really kind of knitted us together. I mean, this is a guy who was so close to his mom and dad out in Queens, used to go and see them on Sundays. Yeah. And I thought, he's really a good guy. And also too, at the end of the day, we both just like to, take it easy and, go to movies, go to theater, or just, whatever. We just had a lot of really basic kind of values in common.
You talk about values a lot, and so much of the book is about, I don't even know if I want to call them traditional, but they are values and connected to family. I'm curious about something, and I bet a lot of people watching right now are curious about this as well. You grew up in the South. Mm-hmm. You're here, and we are literally here at 66 and Broadway, and your office, tell everyone where it is?
Right across the street. You could almost see my window from here, almost.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Right? So you're here in Manhattan. You've succeeded in so many ways. and turned down some great gigs, right, because of family, right? Is it sometimes, or particularly earlier on, because of what you came from, geographically and otherwise, and everything it represents? For those of us-
Economically.
Now, I grew up in New Jersey. New York is New York. Similar, you get the point. Is there sometimes it strikes you about not just the pace here, but the difference of the way we sometimes treat each other?
Oh gosh, all the time. In fact, sometimes I feel like a fish out of water because I'm still a Southern.
even now?
Even now, I've been here for 24 years.
Yeah, but you're a New Yorker.
I'm a Southern Belle. I'm a Southern Belle.
Southern Belle?
I'm a Southern Belle. Now, my 17-year-old daughter says, Mom, I'm a New Yorker. You're a Southerner. No. I still have that gentility. I mean, I do honk the horn and I kind of get out of my way a little bit more than I probably did when I first got here. But I still feel like, you know, the idea of just people being civil to each other, being warm to each other. In my neighborhood, I mean, we literally here in the city, I'm waving, saying hello to Robert right down the street, Susan, who's walking her dog. Hi. My daughter's like, Mom, why are you always talking to
You know their
people?
names.
I know their names, of course. It feels like a neighborhood. And I said, but that's what you do. My mom used to always say to me.
What'd your mom teach you?
My mom used to always say to me, and I'm from a family of 9 kids, and my parents didn't graduate high school. And they wanted more for their kids, and they had a real drive for their children, and they also wanted to instill really strong values. And my mom used to always say to me, yeah, Ben and Ruth, the time of day belongs to everyone. I said, well, what does that mean? The time of day, you know what she's saying? And I thought about it today when I was walking past a homeless guy in the street, and I smiled, and he smiled. My mom really felt like, I don't care how high you are or how low you are, everybody deserves acknowledgement. Everybody deserves a good morning, good evening, the time of day. And it's all about, you know, relating to each other as human beings. And I think that's, I'm not saying that people in New York don't feel that, because of course they do. We know that. But there's a real gentility in the South about acknowledging people and just feeling like we're one community. And I think I feel that a little stronger than some of my friends. Contemporaries, yes.
How about this one? For all of us who are married and trying to be the best partners we can be, some of the keys.
Well, I mean, I have to tell you, I don't think I have it figured out. One of the keys is knowing that you don't have it figured out and there's no perfect marriage, there's no perfect relationship. We're blowing it all the time. I was mad with Al yesterday, like, stop calling me, I'm busy, boom. I think, but respect, really trying to just remember that this is a person that you care about. It's not just about the day-to-day and being mothers and fathers and, you know, all of that. It's all about respect and love. You know, trying to keep some romance alive. I mean, we will make a date sometimes. Sometimes we'll go and get a hotel room here in the city just to get away from the kids. But just to try to remember, like, we do connect, because we're so busy running around every day trying to do all these different things. So I think trying to really connect to each other and stay connected, and, you know, just remembering at the end of the day, you do love each other. No matter what's going on in the relationship, you do love each other. You got to remember that.
You feel fortunate?
Oh my gosh, I feel blessed. I feel blessed all the time. And there are times that, I mean, literally, when I'm walking into the office to go to work right across the street there, I pinch myself. I'm thinking, I can't believe I'm living this life or I'm living this dream. I used to sit on my carpet in my den watching Walter Cronkite say, and that's the way it is, dreaming that I would work on network television as a kid, and watching Barbara Walters and thinking, one day I want to work on her show.
And you're here.
And I did. I mean, please, can you imagine?
No.
Blessed.
Well, I'll tell you what, we feel, I don't feel it's overusing the word or using it appropriately. We feel blessed to have you here.
Well, thank you.
Have terrific people like you sit in that seat and join us on public broadcasting.
And purple, I like this.
Yeah, it
nicely
works, right?
done.
And by the way, you can't tell, but this studio is about 56 degrees. And Deborah is so tough. Gayle King complains. You saw that she said, and Tamron Hall complains.
Of course.
So they all complain about how cold it is. Look at this. You're tough.
No sleeves.
No,
please.
Tell your partner how he's welcome anytime. He can wear a sweater. It's okay, that too.
He won't be as much fun.
He will. Oh, see? Al Roker and Deborah Roberts. Been there, done that. Family wisdom for modern times. You are terrific. Thank you so much.
Oh, so great.
Wish you nothing but the best.
It was a pleasure.
Stay with us. We'll be right back, right after this.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
This is the Karen Hunter Show.
Welcome back to the most incredible show I've probably ever done here on the Karen Hunter Show, SiriusXM. It's called Race. I started with a notion that it's my dream that one day we would, as Martin Luther King said, deal with each other based on the content of our character, not based on the color of our skin. And my thing was, well, let's eliminate the boxes. Let's not check any more race boxes. Let's just define for ourselves who we are. Matter of fact, if you're black, check white if you want to. Let's just be contrarian. Like, that was really what I wanted to do. And as I'm listening to these stories, it's forcing me actually to take a beat and take a breath.
Man, she is compelling. That's my good friend Karen Hunter, SiriusXM, the Karen Hunter Show. Channel 126. How you doing?
I am awesome, actually. It's the best I've been. And I'm extremely happy. I'm blessed. And my God, thank you for having me here today. I'm so proud of you.
We have history.
Yes, a little bit, just a little bit.
You know, it's so interesting in this business. We have different people who come in here and we connect through the media business in one way or another. It's important to be good to each other when you get a chance to work together because you got to stay in. You and I were just saying, you got to stay in this game and you got to be true to yourself. Talk about that. Because you're true to yourself all the time. I was listening to you the other day on Sirius.
You know,
I said she is just always true to herself.
I'm channeling a 99-year-old woman. You know, when you get to that age where you don't care what people think and you don't care how people view you and you just are really authentically who you are. I'm 99 right now in my spirit.
You look 28, but go ahead.
Thank you. I just had a birthday recently. But no, it's the toughest thing because you're going to run into people who want you to be X, Y, or Z. They want you to be less of this, more of that. You know, they want you to dress a certain way, talk a certain way, look a certain way. Don't say this, don't say that. I remember I did a pilot for one of these networks, and a friend of mine was in the room, and one of the producers said, oh, she's going to be trouble. We won't be able to control her. And, you know, when I thought about that, I'm like, why would you want to control somebody?
Funny word.
Yeah, who is bringing a perspective to your airwaves that doesn't exist right now. So, you know, it was very clear early on that I would have to cut my own path to be where I am today.
Describe that show.
This show, the Karen Hunter Show?
Let everybody know.
It is unfiltered, it is unapologetic, and it is all about empowering the people who listen to it. You know, I'm a teacher at
Tell
heart.
everyone where, yeah.
I teach at Hunter College. I've been a professor there for the last 13 years, my goodness. I am getting old.
No, you're not. You're getting wiser.
I taught at NYU. I taught in Harlem, high school kids on Saturdays, and so that's my nature. So most of the show is about educating our audience in a way that's entertaining and also very, you know, thought-provoking at the same time. I just want people to get up from their seats and their comfortable positions and do something.
Karen, you and I have talked on and off the air about race for a long time. We've co-hosted programming together. We've also been, I remember last time we did something on MSNBC a while back. I don't even know if I would call it a point-counterpoint, but we were on together. Are we getting any better at talking about and dealing with race? Any better? As people?
You know, I said President Obama is like America's black light. You know, the black light that you shine on the stuff to see where the filth is, you know, that you can't see with the naked eye. His presidency, his election has shown America's filth that's underneath the surface that we couldn't see without the black light, and he's the black light. So are we getting better? I think we are forced into having these conversations, which we weren't having before. We had President Obama. He's given, I think, 3 tremendous race speeches on the heels of Jeremiah Wright, most recently after the massacre in South Carolina. And it is forcing us to have to look at ourselves as Americans to determine what we're going to be in the future. And I think it's an important dialogue that we have to have. We've never had it.
So when our great friend Tavis Smiley here in public broadcasting and Professor Cornel West and others challenge President Obama and argue that he hasn't done nearly enough for and in the African-American community, you say?
I say, they're not wrong, but I think their motives can be questioned a little bit. Okay?
Because he didn't show up to certain things?
Yeah, you know, feelings are hurt.
Is that inside baseball?
I don't think I think people know that. I don't think it's a secret.
Who may not know that.
No. So you know, they didn't get invited to being, you know, they weren't at the Super Bowl parties and stuff. You know.
So you don't think it's as intellectual or as rational?
They have a point. They have a valid point, but unfortunately, sometimes points get undermined when you don't deliver them properly or when they are couched in something that is, you know, unnecessary. So yeah, they have a valid point. But then I ask the question: Who made President Obama do something? more. And I challenge black, quote unquote, I'm putting up air quotes, black leadership. What has the NAACP demanded of President Barack Obama? What has the Urban League demanded of President Barack Obama? What has the National Action Network demanded of President Barack Obama? What has the Rainbow Coalition demanded of President
You're talking about Jesse Jackson also? You're talking about Al Sharpton?
I'm trying not to do the name game.
No, I know. Well, those people had those, they are those organizations.
Yes,
They're the brand.
So the question is, President Barack Obama said, make me do something. The gays made something happen, and as a result, things happened for the gay community, the LGBTQ community. You have to make leadership adhere to the things that you want to have happen. You have to hold them accountable. And I think we were so happy to have a black president that, folks, were derelict in their duties in terms of what comes next. And the civil rights activists of the 50s and 60s always understood the end goal, which was to get things accomplished. And from Thurgood Marshall with Brown versus the Board of Ed and all of the, landmark decisions that happened under his watch, to Martin Luther King with all of the Voting Rights acts that transpired. Yeah.
After everything you just said, explain to our audience why you switched. You know what's coming.
Come on.
You became a Republican.
I've been a Republican for a very long time.
Okay, so explain it.
Well,
Because as we do this program, it appears, and again, it's later after, say Donald Trump is the nominee. You going to vote for Donald Trump?
Hell no. No, I will not.
You said you're Republican.
So what? This is the other thing. Labels, how do they define us? Are you a Catholic? What are you? You know what I'm saying?
I'm Roman Catholic.
Right, okay, but why?
Because I grew up Roman Catholic, I believe in the Catholic Church, and you can ask me, I believe in every aspect of what comes out of the Vatican, the answer would be no.
Exactly, and I think a lot of us have these false labels that we place on ourselves, and labels mean nothing to me. So the fact that I'm a Republican doesn't mean anything in terms of how I'm going to vote or whether I choose to vote a certain way or another. I think we become too wedded to ideology and not wedded to what it really means to be an American and what it means to serve our community and what it means to actually vote with a purpose. So my becoming a Republican and my push with my Party of Lincoln, by the way, we have an app.
Yeah, Party of Lincoln.
Party of Lincoln, you can download it in the Apple Store.
Lincoln and Trump remind you of each other?
No, not at all. Not at all. And that's the point.
I'm sorry.
So and I'm glad you asked, because the Tea Party did something tremendous that I was jealous of, because you took like maybe a couple of million people with a Don't Tread on Me hat and some tea bags, and they shifted an entire party. Not a lot of people. They shifted an entire party, moved it away from this fiscal responsibility thing to this whole social, we hate all these people thing. And I said, well, if 2 million people can do that, what could 4 million people do? Could we shift the party back to the Party of Lincoln? Could we shift the party back to an inclusive body of folk that actually care about this country in a way that Lincoln's platform did? Yeah, I think we can. So the Party of Lincoln was launched with that kind of mentality. What could we do? Could we shift the party back to where it needs to be? But you can't shift it if you're not in it, right?
I hear Hillary Clinton. You telling me that you feel that she understands everything you just said, and she is the candidate who you say represents the interests of you and other African Americans who want the things that you're talking about? You telling me that?
No, I'm not telling you that, nor would I tell you that. But what I will tell you is that Donald Trump absolutely does not represent that. Ted Cruz absolutely does not represent that.
Let's assume this airs after and it is Trump and Clinton. Let's assume that for a second.
Okay. Donald Trump definitely doesn't represent that. So if I hate the lesser of two evils, again, I vote with a purpose. For me right now, it's the Supreme Court. We're looking at definitely 1 seat being filled.
At least.
Possibly 2 or 3, right? If unless somebody did a deal with the devil or they're vampires. So do I want a Republican to choose the next 3 Supreme Court justices? And what would that change for me in my community? That's a big deal. So I don't really care. It's not about Hillary Clinton as much as it is about preserving or galvanizing the things that I think are important as it relates to the Supreme Court, which is an equal branch of government that we don't pay much attention to.
Do you like Hillary Clinton?
Do I like her? I don't know her.
Do you trust her?
I don't trust anybody.
Do you trust her motives?
I don't trust any of them.
What does that mean?
Because I think they're politicians.
What does that mean? They're human beings. They're running for. Are they different from the rest of us?
Yeah, they are. Because most of us don't run with the. Most of us don't run for office. I think there's a special type of person that's going to run for office.
You think they're that different?
Yeah, I do. I think they're wired differently. I think, and I think once you get under the ether of that, it becomes intoxicating. I think it's, you become somewhat of a megalomaniacal type of person. You can become a little power hungry. I think a lot of things of folk. But again, it's up to we the people to hold those folk accountable and tell them what we want. And we haven't done a good job of that.
Man left, what's at stake in this election and after?
Supreme Court's at stake for me. The soul of this country's at stake. You know, who we're going to be in the future. Right now, we look very ugly to ourselves and to the world. And I think, you know, if we're being honest, do we represent all of the things that, you know, the Constitution says, you know, we should be thinking about, considering, you know, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, all people being created equally, you know, equal justice under the law, all these wonderful ideals that the Founding Fathers, even if they did not believe them, wrote them into the Constitution as an aspiration? Are we living up to that aspiration as people?
Would Dr. King be proud?
No, I don't think he would be.
He would not.
Of where we are right now as a nation?
And where we're going.
I don't think so.
Karen Hunter, you got to learn to speak your mind. SiriusXM, the Karen Hunter Show, channel 126.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Monday through Friday.
It is great to see you again.
It is wonderful to see you.
Especially in the world of public broadcasting, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
And you have a lot of us thinking, and that is the most important thing we could ask people to do.
I'm
Thanks,
grateful
my friend.
to you. Thank you.
Anytime.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One on One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Virtua, Wells Fargo, Caldwell University, the New Jersey Education Association, Suez, Johnson & Johnson, and by Kessler Foundation. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
At Virtua, we don't cut the quad tendon for knee replacement, so you don't have to cut anything you love to do. It's what we don't cut that counts. The Virtua Joint Replacement Institute. Visit GotMyLifeBack.org today.